religious bigots, the Heritage Foundation, are spending $1 million on anti-LGBTQ plus Thanksgiving adverts.
So I didn't see any of this because the adverts were targeting the largest group of, trans supporters, people who were watching the Patriots versus Vikings, the Bills versus the Lions, and the Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, as well as in college games that happen to involve the sport ball of foot. The total bill was $1.3 million with $300,000 worth of digital ads. This was the most expensive campaign run by the Heritage Foundation, which claims to be a conservative think tank, not an advertising company. But essentially, their ads all targeting one simple thing, that there is an attack on people of faith. They're wanting to essentially drag the Respect for Marriage Act out and say this is intentionally attacking people of faith, i.e. Christian people. We don't see, the Muslim Alliance, doing anything about this. We don't see, the Jewish Confederation of the United States or whatever it is coming out against this, but we have a conservative Christian-based, supposedly think tank coming out and saying that these things are an attack on the faith that Christians hold within this country, not recognizing for one fucking moment that it is an attack on the lives of people who happen to be Christian who are going to suffer because of this. There are Christian queers. I feel sorry for them that they do not feel safe or welcomed by the wider part of their same identifying religious community. They want to use queer lives as the touch point of a holy war.
Mm-hmm. Well, and isn't it just, we've talked a lot about gaslighting today on this show, and isn't it just the ultimate form of gaslighting to say creating a bill that protects people's right to marry another adult as they see fit is somehow an attack on your marriage and your value of marriage and what marriage means to you? There's no logic that makes sense there. And yet, they just keep hammering it. It's like I said, it's gaslighting at its finest.
So, one of the senators who voted for the Respect for Marriage Act came out and began to do an "oh, woe is me" story, feeding this out to Tony Perkins, who's the head of the Family Resource Council. And basically he said he was manipulated or tricked into voting for that. Because see, the thing is that he was convinced that the Respect for Marriage Act was the way to protect interracial marriage as well as same-sex marriage. And so now he's crying at that and saying, oh, I was tricked. Don't fall for this stuff. Don't fall for it, because they are just wanting to, manipulate you into things that you don't want with this other thing. Not stopping to realize that if they wrote interracial marriage into that bill as a protection, did he not stop to think that maybe the people that he's arguing for want to remove interracial marriage? Mm-hmm. Did he not stop to think about the rights that were being attacked that he wanted to protect? And then turn around and say, okay, wait a minute. If we're going to protect people who happen to be interracial, why can't we do this? Because in the grand scheme of things, aren't they all citizens of the same fucking country? Mm-hmm. Come on. So crying and whining that he was manipulated, that he was some kind of victim of a Democratic bait and switch. Son, did you go to the Marjorie Taylor Greene School of Political Educations?
Or just education in general, for God's sake.